All right. Well, guys, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Welcome to everybody who's here right now to the next Hump Day Live. Whoop,
Oh,
whoop. So, I don't know about you guys, but I have been all over some more of that ROTOR RIOT drama this week. I can't wait to jump into this subject.
wasn't that
Bardwell
wasn't
versus Serge.
Yeah.
that was on PiroflipRC?
Well, and I mean, did you guys read that whole exchange?
I did.
Yeah. How Serge was flippy floppy.
Serge was a little flippy floppy. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. As I was reading some of Serge's replies, because if you ever read his replies, he's hugely sarcastic. The guy's a huge smartass. And so when he made that remark about, well, I'll just take the next big idea and sell it at cost, I just laughed. I'm like, I didn't think anything of it. And lo and behold, here comes Bardwell.
Well, he knew who goat he was trying to get for sure.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, the more I thought about it, I wonder if there was some true facetiousness in that move. Because when those little PCBs first came out, they were selling them for something like $4 or $5 for like 6.
Yeah,
Yep.
what was that guy's name? Kevin something?
Yeah.
Kevin Lee.
Kevin Lead, and he has a company. He makes just those, or I don't know. Does he make like FPV parts in general? I don't know.
You ever heard of White Noise?
Oh, he's White Noise. Okay,
Yep.
okay.
The white noise boards for TBS and all that too.
Yeah. I never bothered.
Yep. So what
Sorry,
transpired? Yeah. So what transpired was, you know, initially White Noise released these little PCBs. I forget what they call them.
Race wire.
Race wire.
Yeah.
Thank you. Released race wire. Good idea, but for me, nothing too exciting. I mean, I did get some for free in a drone drop box and really looked at them and decided I didn't want them, so I sent them with some of my motor sales and, you know, poof, be gone. Well, Bardwell comes a few weeks ago and he's like, well, I had a better idea. And when you look at it, it is a pretty good idea. He kind of staggered
Yeah, it should be.
the solar pads. Yeah.
He said there was a lot of complaints about because they were when you solder onto the original race wire, they're side by side and they're so tight together that there's a lot of over soldering. So that's why he staggered them.
Bridging.
Yeah.
Yeah, bridging.
And then Serge took that same idea, had these 2 different lengths of race wire made with the staggered solder leads, and instead of selling them for 50 cents a piece or $1 a piece or even $0.25 a piece, 15 cents.
The way I read it, I thought I thought maybe that he had originally started selling them for the normal price, but then something went down that I'm not totally aware of, and he's like, well, here's a big for you, Kevin and Bardwell and all you guys or whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, I couldn't find anything prior to that, at least not publicly, to add to any of the context. I just think you say what you want about Bardwell offering up to give all the money to White Noise, or, you know, whether Serge did or did not. It doesn't matter. And I don't even think that counts in the cloning debate because, I mean, we're talking 10-cent parts.
Well, I mean, of course they don't really do patents in this industry, so I mean that's not an issue. I mean it's 3 traces. I mean, come on. I could probably make that if I put my mind to it. And you've seen my soldering. It ain't good.
Right. Well, and then people started jumping on it for the same thing. You know, you take OEM cameras and put your name on them and sell them for less. And you get OEM batteries and put your name on them and sell them for less. Well, I'm trying to figure out what the goddamn problem is, to be honest with you.
Well, and you know what? That's what Serge does. He rebrands motors. He sells them on his site. He rebrands whatever. He sells them on his site. That's his business. That's what he does.
That's what he had. The Pyro batteries originally that had the tattoo logo on them, and Tattoo didn't like that too much, so they made him pull them. Now they're back out with just the Pyro drone logo on them.
Yeah, I mean,
I
he
buy them
finds
all the
stuff for
time.
cheap and puts his name on it and
Good
gets his little
packs.
markup, and it is.
That's it.
But as far as Bardwell goes, I hate to be that guy, but God, I would love to see a pissed off Bardwell. That would just be the funniest thing. Sorry if this gets to you, Bardwell, but that would be hilarious.
You know, I kind of think so too. Can you hear the guy, the pitch in his voice going up and up just a little bit more, like when he gets excited? To see the veins start palming out and the hair stands on end.
I know, that must have been a heck of a day for him at his house.
I was imagining it while I was reading his post.
Oh man. You know what's funny too? He's a big, or at least at one point was a big gun guy, and he's big into martial arts.
So I've heard a little bit anyway. He used to be.
Yeah, you know, he got 0 reviews for flying in that day.
Oh God. Yeah, other than putting moves on pigs with buckets, I haven't seen him do a whole lot other than the couple things he's posted. But
actually, he's been posting more flight video as of late.
I know, and I kind of like it.
That was from Puerto Rico, where it was just DVR because he forgot to hit the record button, like we all do.
Well, yeah, but didn't they just do a Bardwell liftoff map? You can actually fly Bardwell's ranch now on liftoff.
Yep, with his quad.
Yep.
Okay,
but I don't
guys,
do sim, so.
Interesting comment. Josh, let me see if I can get this to where I can frickin' read it. I hate the way this chat comes up. Anyway, I think it was Josh Feltz said, you know, he thinks Bardwell's lost some credibility since he sold out. Do you guys think he's a sellout?
Well, you know what? I'm going to go with what Henry Rollins said about all that. Yeah, I sold out. I want to eat.
Right? When you've got a name like Bardwell's got, though, I mean, considering Betaflight, when you look for the help links, it's got his name on it. I mean, for him, it's not really a sellout because most of these people are hitting him up for help and this, that, and the other thing anyway. He's just running with it on his own to try to put that profit in his pocket instead, I think. Right.
Yeah, I know, right?
If I come up with a good frame or something, I'm going to sell the shit out of it. I don't care if it's a cloned off of something or, you know.
Yeah, I don't see it as being a sellout because the first big thing that I'm aware of that he did was when he did the Kakudi F4 manual. And I don't know if you guys have read that manual. If you haven't, you should sometime, because more than, like, it's not so much board specific. It's very broad and applies to pretty much any board of any type. And he goes through a lot of fundamental things in there that you can apply across the board. It's hugely valuable.
Yeah, you know I haven't read that, bro.
No, but I'm just throwing it out there that if you haven't, at least take a look at it to see the type of work he's putting out. The way that he really digs in and analyzes his topics on video is the same thing he did with that manual, and he made it to where it actually applies to a lot of things.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you have somebody that's making stuff that's that good, and he is now getting hired by companies to provide material that's that good, I mean, how is that any different than some jackass standing around going, look, I made flippy flops. Somebody sponsor me. Please throw free batteries at me. Please throw free motors at me. I made flippy flops. How's that any different?
You mean like Zorro, not FPV, getting his own frame?
Oh, God.
You
know what I mean? It's pretty much the same.
I knew that guy was going to start getting popular. But, you know, as far as Bardwell goes, yeah, as far as Bardwell goes, selling out, I mean, the guy started by doing product reviews of stuff that he was either paid to do or was given for free, the product, so he could do the review. So, I mean, I don't know how anyone could say that he is selling out now when he was always receiving something for what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always been honest about that. And, you know, if you don't trust him because of that, he says it himself. Then don't trust me. Whatever, dude. I'm making a living.
Right.
I mean, if I could make a living flying FPV instead of driving a truck, I might have to go part-time on the trucking.
Well, when you
Just
couple
saying.
it with the travel,
Right? That's why.
yeah, anybody who finds a way to make money doing what they love is not a sellout. I don't care if they're a musician, an FPV pilot, or an inventor.
Agreed.
Speaking of inventions, I'm going to throw something up here on the screen. Did you take a look at that link I sent you guys about the Runcam 3S?
No, I hadn't had a chance.
Oh yeah, I checked that thing out, dude.
Oh my God. So let me go ahead and throw this thing up here, make it full screen. Or not. All right, well, that's close enough. Look, and let me do this too. All right. So look at this thing, right? Now, I don't know about you guys, but when that Runcam 3 came out, I bought one. And initially, it was my very first true, like, higher level action cam. And when I look at this thing, all I see is the Runcam 3.
Well, I figured that would be the case because the only issue that they had, I mean, what GoPro went after for was just a power button. That was it. That was the only thing that the GoPro had on them to shut them down, and
That's
it worked. So, yeah, that's the only thing.
Yep, form factor.
Yeah, it was a functional patent, I believe, is what they broke.
Well, what's funny is if you look at this, the power button's back in the same place.
Yeah, but isn't it different from what it was before? Before it was just like GoPros.
Well, when you look at the back, that function button before was on the bottom. This plug was on the side. And then, of course, you didn't have a removable battery because that's the major thing that I see that this thing is touting is the removable battery.
Which is awesome. How many times does your GoPro run out and you still got like 4 packs left?
Right. So, I mean,
Oh,
I
man.
see value in that, but I'm really disappointed at the other specs. And maybe I shouldn't be because I don't know if you guys noticed, but look at the price. I mean, it's $99.99. There are people paying more than that for GoPro 4s sessions.
Right.
Okay. And this thing does have an edge over GoPro Session 4. Let me see if I can get to these specs real quick. 1080p 60 is the max it'll do.
That's what most everybody uses. I'd be fine with that.
Isn't the Session 4 1080 48?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's already better than that.
But a lot of people are moving and adopting that 2.7K 30. So, but they're also doing that for more than double the price because the only session size camera that does that right now is the Session 5, which is no longer in production.
I'm crying.
Now, the other thing when I look at this, because I spent a while looking at this, okay, that strikes me. So I had that first Runcam, and initially I broke the glass real quick, okay? So I don't know if you can see it here, but it says Corning Gorilla Glass 3. So it's not going to be standard glass that they're putting on the front of this. So that's already a huge upgrade for the Runcam. The other thing that I noticed is because of the way this thing is assembled, it looks like it's going to be more easily repairable, which is good because I'm going to put money that case is plastic, just like the original.
Oh, the original was plastic. I didn't know that.
It was.
Okay. See, we were arguing last night, and I say, hey, well, it might be metal, dude. Oh, on the back, it might be. We don't know. It's just a picture. But okay, you got me.
But part of what made that such a big deal was, again, after you get a couple crashes under it, if your glass breaks, first of all, the glass was a real pain in the ass to fix. And if you look at this should be much more easily repairable because all of the screws are accessible without having to get underneath of anything. Look at the front there. You got 4 screws in the front. You got 4 screws in the back. And with all that space, because of that, having that removable battery, I'll bet this thing comes out and is easily swapped into new cases pretty easy.
That's what I was just thinking. I was also thinking that it's I don't know if the specs say the weight there, but I bet you it's lighter than your Session 5.
It doesn't look like there's a whole lot to it.
69 grams. It is lighter. I don't know dimension-wise how it stacks up. I haven't looked at that.
I think I remember if it's the same as the original Runcam 3, whatever. It was just a little different, just enough to where you wanted to make your own 3D printed case specifically for it and not use the GoPro ones.
Well, actually, the length and the height were the same as the GoPro Session, but it was deeper, but only by a millimeter or two. And you could actually squeeze them into the GoPro Session TPU mounts.
Okay. You know what? If I didn't already have, 2 GoPro Session 5s and plan on getting maybe a couple more if I get the chance, I'd go for one of those.
And I may, for that price, just
But
out of curiosity.
There's just one thing, and I looked through that whole page and looked at everything. What about the super view? Because if it's just stretched and it ain't super view, then it ain't cool. Just like the lightning that you see going off behind me.
Well, so it does have a 160-degree field of view, which is equivalent to GoPro, but the difference will be that this may be a native 16:9 sensor and a native 16:9 image, so you won't have the same height available to you.
Yeah, that's a real downer for me because for me in FPV and my recording height, the vertical height is everything. I mean, yes, you want to be able to see to the sides, but that's an afterthought when it comes, compared to the vertical height.
I agree.
Completely. And I know you fly 69, so I mean, I don't know. You've done 4.3, so I'm not sure how that plays out for you.
So here's the thing. I prefer to fly 16:9 with my FPV camera because it's what I'm used to, because it's what I've been flying for forever. It throws me off a little bit if I fly 4.3 because of that extra vertical space. But in my high-def footage, I prefer to have the extra height of the 4.3.
Absolutely. I've even noticed, you know what, a solution to that when using the Runcam 3S might be to do what I've seen a few pilots doing, is they put their recording camera, their action camera, 5 degrees higher than their FPV camera, and that actually creates some really cool, I don't want to say matty stuff because it's a little different, but that just gives you an idea of what it does while you're flying it. It makes it look like you're doing things that you might not be completely doing as crazy as it looks.
Mm-hmm. Well, anybody can do that.
Yeah, I know Josh Ketchum, he's been known to do that on his flights.
Inverted orbits around poles.
No, if your FPV camera is, because like let's say mine is a pretty conservative 25 degrees. When you put your action cam on, you actually put it at a steeper angle.
Right.
So even though you're seeing one thing, your camera is seeing something different, and what it amounts to is it's getting more of that airspace.
Yeah. And I actually like seeing more of the sky and having the ground when flying level, just towards the bottom of the screen a little more. I think it looks better, but that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It's also nice to just mix it up once in a while. I mean, you don't always have to fly with that action cam at that same angle.
Yes, I do, Josh.
Come on, you guys haven't tried strapping it under the ass?
You and your 25 degrees. I couldn't even imagine flying at 25 degrees, man. I'd feel like I was a snail. I run at 40 for all you guys that don't know. I run 40 degrees all the time. GoPro and FPV cam. And
So
my looks completely Me and Josh, we have completely opposite flying styles, and that is basically because I'm a nutbag that just wants to blow myself up, and I run 40 degrees, and he runs 25 and wants everything pristine and smooth.
So you guys saw my Cathedral Park video.
His ears were ringing.
And that is one where, you know, after I had a chance to think about it, now what happened that day, and the reason I didn't have more footage to work with, I had been on a plane all day flying from Baltimore to Portland. And then it took, because of when my plane landed, it actually took like 2 or 2.5 hours just to get across town because Portland traffic and Portland roadways fucking suck.
Well, I mean, didn't you have, what wasn't Antifa blocking off all the streets or some craziness?
I didn't see it. I didn't realize they were out there. Otherwise, I'd have had to show up for the ultimate troll session because Antifa can lick my chocolate starfish. But anyway, by the time I got to the park, it was like 5 or 5:30, and it was starting to get people. So you take a new place that now has people in it. And then, oh, you guys, there was 2 trains that went through while I was there. And I don't know if you can see it in that video, but the tracks were right behind where I was standing. And 2 or 3 times that thing blew its horn, and I about lost my shit.
To be honest, I was looking at the bridge the whole time. Dude, that whole video, I was screaming at my phone while I was watching it. I was like, Josh, hold the girders of the freaking bridge. Oh, like, no.
Dude, if I had another day to get in there, because I wouldn't have had the shakes, I wouldn't have had the nerves. Maybe I could have gotten there in the afternoon when most normal people are at work. It wouldn't have been as bad, but I didn't want to lose control of that thing and have it hurtle into a person, you know?
Yeah, but it would have been an Antifa.
Yeah. If Antifa was there, there would have been no questions about any of it.
But yeah, no, as I was watching, that was a nice video. What I thought you were trying to get at while you were doing those flights was purely the cinematography of it. It did not look like your average floppity video. It was more. I think it was more about the person. I don't know if that was true or not. But.
Trying to put that Johnny FPV spin in there.
Well, that is kind of what I was doing because I was hoping that the nerves kicked off before the sun started disappearing below the trees. That's not what happened. What happened was the nerves started kicking off, and then I started getting hoarded by people that were super curious about everything that was going on. So it was really cool, and I had a lot of conversations before I was flying and after I was flying for probably a good minimum of an hour total time.
Cool.
Yeah, it was really cool, and everybody was really receptive. But I needed another day. And if I was there another day, the first thing I would have done was crank up my camera, 5 to 10 degrees. Because the video does no justice to the scale of that bridge.
No, yeah, because it takes so long to get from point A to point B. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was, to be a little critical, I was thinking, dude, I wish that he did more. Like it seemed like it didn't have enough in it.
Exactly.
I mean, it was a great video. Don't get me wrong, but that's just the whole time I was thinking. I mean, my God, you need to go through the trees over there. You need to go up into the girders over there. Look at this place. Go everywhere. And you really could. You know? But hey, I thought of a solution. What you got to do is you got to get yourself one of those little FPV screens that you can put on a tripod, right? Mm-hmm. And you set it up behind you with a sign on top of it that says "Save all questions till I land." Just watch.
Well, the good news is, even though I had a lot of interest, nobody was bugging me while I was flying.
That's a new one.
You say that there's truth because normally if somebody does approach me, they happen to do it while I'm flying.
How high does it go?
Oh, among other things. But it was good. Like I said, maybe someday I'll get back. I really, really wanted another pass at that place. Or maybe I'll uncover something at home. I don't know.
Well, you need to do a little Google mapping, man. Google Maps is like Google World, whatever on the PC that's your friend. I have found mad spots because of that. I mean, just was it a couple months ago, Mike? I was talking with Adam, Plummet FPV, and he's like, it's just the same old places around here. And I'm like, bro, have you even looked on Google Maps yet, just to look and see what's around you? And I don't think you guys have even gone yet. There's an abandoned horse race track.
Yeah, harness racing.
Oh my God, that place! I would kill to go fly a place like that.
Yep. That's just in a roughneck type of town area. That's why we haven't gone there, I think. We usually hit the parks that we're used to that we know people aren't, but that's just
the
one
thing
of those
with
areas
bandos.
we're like, oh, we got to lock it up.
That's the thing with bandos, man. They're going to be in crappy areas.
Yep.
That's why you go in groups.
Yeah, all the Detroit ones are in crap areas. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, I know. And you guys are right there, sort of.
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours drive. We could be down to fucking, I don't know. Vortex was talking about having a barbecue this summer before summer's over with down in Detroit. Hitting like a bando barbecue, trying to get a bunch of people together.
Well, he's got about a week.
Yeah, it's coming quick, I know. And we're fighting rain the whole week.
Man.
You see it? Lightning keeps going up behind me. I don't know if anybody sees my little screen when it happens. Constantly storming.
Yeah. Oh, man. So, Chuck, have you considered getting another quad?
I was just thinking about that last night, bro. But, you know already, I have a couple of frames just sitting waiting. Not one of those little tiny things. Give me a break, dude. I want something bigger.
Oh, man. I can't wait to build this little 3-inch.
Right? I have the quad box frame, which I'm pretty excited for. Waiting to get me. I gotta save up for some motors and a PDB, and that thing's getting built. I have everything else. I still have, and I was just thinking last night, this would be really cool if I ordered some 6-inch arms for it and built me another 6-inch, because as you know, I didn't start out with, I got good on a 6-inch, let's say that, and I miss it so much. That thing was just the funnest thing in the world.
You don't think it breaks your mojo moving on to a slightly different platform?
I think it does. I don't think it would be my main quad. I think it would be something just to bust out for fun. Because I know what you're getting at. And yeah, I run one platform. And that was also why I was thinking of just doing it on the reverb, because it would be a reverb. It would just be a 6-inch with all the same parts except for the motors. But other than that, yeah, I totally with all the same parts every time. That's, in my mind, that's the only way to get good.
Yeah, it was something we started talking about last night, and you guys started beating up, and it's something that I've recommended to people multiple times. Stop buying quads. Stop building quads. Stop making everything different. You hear people say they want to get better, whatever their version of better is. But how can you get better for something that changes all the time?
Right? No consistency. Everybody wants to have the wall of quads. Why? I mean, what are you going to do with them? How often do you fly every single one of them? Or do you have one that you basically fly all the time? And you're just wasting your money on all this other crap.
I agree. And I mean, I originally went down that route. I didn't have a ton. Okay. I mean, I had probably at one time 5 quads, and they were all different. But what I was doing was trying them out. I was trying to figure out kind of what I liked the best before I settled on something.
All right. Well, there's your segue. Tell us what you settled on.
You guys know what I settled on. I've got multiple videos about that shit.
That's his platform build. His go-to build.
My formula.
You actually,
Right.
you
Methods.
actually almost got me thinking about getting a floss, but then I thought to myself again, what, I have quads already. What, no. And the only reason that I want to build a different one as far as the quad box frame goes is I want something to destroy.
Something to
want
beat the shit out of.
something for indoors. And if my memory recalls correctly, that thing's 5 mil thick base plate.
Yes.
So you can't get much more of a
Deep.
than that. And I was thinking about slamming the deck on it and just making it a brick
Drop top.
and just fly indoors all day long. Because I got the reverb. Well, I got the reverbs, and God knows how much money I poured into those things. That's not exactly the quad I want to go take indoors very often.
Well, hold on. So you would take this quad box frame indoors? Or are you talking about like bandos?
Bando, yeah. Like a video I have on my channel. When I went into the barn and did my first indoor.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Man, when you said indoors, I'm thinking like in the house, in a building, but not bando. I'm thinking, why would anybody fly 5-inch inside?
DRL, baby, all the way.
Indoors for me, bro, my truck. So, I mean.
No, but you know what? For anybody that ever says that they're trying to get good, and this doesn't matter if it's racing, if it's freestyle, or if it's just you flying in your backyard, my answer is always going to be the same. If you're flying different shit, stop changing stuff. And that's right down to the beta flight versions.
Oh, definitely.
Upgrading to the latest beta flight is not going to make you fly better.
Yeah, I saw a guy on Facebook yesterday who was, I forget who it was, he was saying in the comments, hey, I switched to the new beta flight every time. And I'm like, again,
yeah, you got to relearn your quad every time.
If your quad works and it flies the way that you want it, if your quad works and it flies the way that you want it to fly, don't screw with it. Stick with the same motors. Use the same ESCs. Use the same damn PDP if it's reliable.
Everybody keeps switching because they don't want to tune. They're hoping that it all tunes it all out so their flying becomes better all of a sudden. Still learning how to fly.
That's why you switch to KISS.
Well, that doesn't always help either.
I said it, John.
Here's the thing, though. I've been working on my flying so much, and by sticking on this platform initially, just like everyone else, I spent a little time tuning, right? Trying to tune. And one day when I'm tuning my D term, because I'm trying to get out these prop wash oscillations, right? I'm flying and I notice, and it wasn't intentional. Now, I heard people say, Bardwell and Steele will tell you the way to fight that. I think even Ledrib or Drew Camden did a thing on it where they said, one of the things you could do is you got to get on that throttle sooner. You don't wait until you level off and then hit the throttle. You start throttling up when you're still at this angle and you come into it. And by doing such, you generate clean air. Well, one day I'm flying and I just did that like 2 times in a row. And then I went back and did one of these things and it started, shaking on its descent. And I realized that this was not a tuning problem. And so I took one of my PID profiles and set it to factory. And I can fly perfectly smooth on factory PIDs with no changes to anything except my rates as long as I employ good habits.
No, that's 100% true. The greatest example is a video. It was a Mr. Steele video. I think I watched it yesterday. It was actually done in my hometown where my house is at the high school I would have gone to had I not moved away. And you can hear it. He starts on the throttle when he's still, looking downwards almost. You could hear it barely raise. And the more he turns up, the more the throttle goes up in a slow progression. And it works every time. I mean, you can fight that tune all day long, but if you're dumping yourself into your prop wash, I don't care if you have a KISS V2 tuned perfectly, it's still gonna wobble.
What's a
gonna happen.
perfect tune though? You change the prop a little bit, your tune's all fucked.
That's another exactly. And Josh, that's something I've actually noticed in your flying. When you brought that up, a light bulb went up. I'm like, yeah, I've noticed that in his videos, is especially the one which you guys watch and all need to go check out on this channel, is the Noob Crew. Josh Withrow was the last person we had on, and if you look at it, I might have edited most of it out, but I know I left a few in where every single time he came down, his quad really shook. Like
Got that
it
was.
bad. I'm like, I kept going, damn, your prop wash is horrible.
I get that on
and-
deep dives, but I don't get it otherwise. If I'm smoothing off, like he was just saying, I don't get
Yeah,
it.
well,
But if
Mike,
I'm diving down and I try to go way low and get that bottom end and get right close to the ground and flatten off, that's when I get that prop wash.
but you can still kind of do that if you add more of an arc to your coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of coming down flat. If it's just like a and
Yeah,
if
it cleans the air as you go.
if you guys were skateboarders, and if you've ever skated a half pipe and you catch air, that's how you come down with a quad and not get prop wash. When you land back into that is the arc. That's the perfect arc.
Yep. And it's something that I chased for a while as far as just trying to figure it out. And for a while, I really was trying, but I was trying too hard. It was too much of an actual thought process. And the first couple times I did it and realized what I was doing, it finally sunk in. And then it was just a matter of getting on the throttle. But this doesn't mean ramping up. This means going to, just a hover or even just under a hover. All it's doing is getting the props moving.
You go full throttle, you'll get just as much prop wash as you did the other way.
Yep.
And I'll tell you something else that I discovered in doing this, because even though I do most of my flying at 25 degrees, I have turned it up to 40 and 45 degrees. People that fly with a higher camera angle don't see as much prop wash because the angles help cover all that up.
Well, yeah, we're hauling so much ass already. We're moving forward.
The quad's drifting more, so it doesn't need as much speed and much power from the motors in order to push that prop.
Yep, because you, whether you realize it or not, are hitting that angle sooner anyway because of the way it looks in your goggles.
Yep. That's why I don't even think about it. Like, I have to almost try to prop wash with my quad the way my angle is. I have to, like, literally, I'm trying to do it, and every once in a while it'll happen if I cut just way too hard, if like I'm trying to avoid some crash, which I do a lot, and I show in my videos. I don't care. That's basically when it happened to me. That's pretty much the only time.
It's just been really fun to kind of figure some of this out and to be able to experience it, because, just like all of us, we work so long and hard to be better pilots. And, even though some of us aren't trying to be the next big thing, we still want to fly like we know we can be.
I'm just a natural.
But you know what I mean? When we put something out there, we want it to be the best it can be. And so it's fun when you get into that stuff and you really figure out what's going on. That's what really just drives me in this hobby, is that constant learning. I love it.
Yeah, but you know what, man? I've been trying to get you away from that mindset, and you've admitted that you need to, because you overanalyze so much that
Dude,
it's affecting your flying. It's affecting your flying.
That's part of the reason I can't just go to a new spot and just tear through it. I have to ease in. It takes me a solid 8 packs to get comfortable at a new spot.
Yeah, and
I get real twitchy if I don't.
Yeah, as far as mine goes, about 60% of the time, my best pack is the first one, because I'm always for those of you that don't know, I'm a truck driver, so it's always in a spot. I barely have a spot that I go to more than once. So I get that every time, and that's why I always tell everybody, dude, I get the shakes every time still. That's never gone away from me, and that's probably why. And so, like I said, 70% of the time, first pack, that's the gold. I don't smash into a building.
And you know, in certain settings though, I don't have that problem. So like if I'm just at another park, no problem. But I fly fucking parks all the time. It's all I fly because we don't have bandos and buildings and parking garages and stuff where I live.
Yeah,
So,
with
you
the
know,
same style trees and everything. Yeah.
well, even different style trees, I'm fine with. And I'll tell you, when I go to somewhere and you got those trees that have big gaps in them and they're not all bushy like where I live, oh man, I'll hit it no problem. But it's something in the mindset.
What about those? What about those tight gaps that you just squeeze into?
I'm still working on those. That's
Seems like
my
it
next
barely
thing is
fits.
figuring out how to knife edge that stuff.
That was an inside joke. Go watch his new movie. Were you just doing the chubby checker?
Yeah.
Or the truffle shovel, that's what it was.
You don't better watch my poop noodle. You guys down with the poop noodle?
Only if I got a
I'm
poop knife to
surprised
cut
he's
it.
not over there doing the floss with that frame he's flying.
Shit. Sorry, I got chain lightning going on over here. It's freaking crazy.
That's pretty cool.
All right, except I'm at this insanely awesome. I'm in this insanely awesome like outdoor mall with arches and balconies and like freaking underpass things, dude. I wanted to rip this place so bad, but it's freaking flooding right now, and there's a freaking thunderstorm.
But haven't you conformal coded yet, Chuck?
Yeah, you go out and when it's actually really raining, you go ahead and try and fly.
As long as my radio, my goggles, and me stay dry, I don't care about the quad. I send that bitch.
All right, I want to see that video, bro, where you're flying in torrential rain.
You didn't see the video where I fucking went over there for that concert? The two videos I put up, the darn GoPro or the alien got so soaked up there that it even killed the darn VTX conformal coating.
That wasn't rain. That wasn't rain. That was God.
It was downpour. I was just moving. It was soaking. It was standing water after 10 minutes of fucking pouring rain.
All I know is I have tried it before when I had conformal stuff, and the camera just gets messed up, and I don't know.
It usually kills the camera or the VTX. Either the VTX
well, not kills it. I'm just saying
you go to a blank screen, or the camera cuts out. Usually, it's the camera that gets damp inside or something and cuts out. You dry it out.
Well, I'm just saying, having water constantly on the lens, and I'm not going to be flying like I would be wanting to fly.
Me and Mom have tried that Rain-X shit, and that doesn't help all that much with them little lenses either. I mean, one drop covers the whole lens, so that Rain-X shit doesn't work that well.
No, I don't buy into Rain-X for the GoPro or the FPV cam.
Yeah,
we tried it all winter, didn't we, Adam?
To get back to the new spot jitters, that's something that I embrace personally. That's the high that I get from flying. That's the best for me. I don't know about you guys.
I do. I enjoy the feeling like afterwards, but it frustrates me knowing that I can't just relax enough to let something happen, because until I kind of know the lines and know the routes, I just can't let go.
Let go, Josh. Let it flow.
You gotta start building clone quads or something so it gives a shit less.
Be the quad, be the quad, be the quad, be the quad.
Honestly, I'm not afraid of killing my quad, because even when I travel, I keep spare arms and plates and stuff with me. So I'm not afraid of breaking something. It's just the thought. It's because I'm thinking so hard about what I should do or what I can do, or instead of just letting
what's the next gap to hit? How do I transition into it? Where to go? Yeah, that's usually what it is for me on the first 4 or 5 packs when I go to a new spot. Is I'm flying around and looking to see what kind of flow I can get to try to throw something together. And usually my last pack, I just rip it hard and hope the hell I don't crash.
Well, that's me. That's why me and Josh's style are so polar opposites. Is that he wants to find the lines first. I want to hit all the things.
Literally. Buildings
I'm
not
like-
included.
I'm like when you watch Ethics on Wednesdays for their trick days or whatever, and they fly a pack and they kind of cruise around. They're like, here's what we got. And then you throw a pack on and try to go through.
When I start thinking about it too much is when my videos get real herky-jerky. Like, they don't turn out that good. When I'm not thinking and I'm going, when I just go and I accept the paths and the lines that are before me, then my videos seem to turn out way more exciting to me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Mine
Those are
work
my
better
best
when I
packs,
just go
too.
fly. If I like try to play music, like I pick a song, I'm like, oh man, that song's just in my head. That's so cool. It sounds cool. I know I can fly something to it. And I try to play it over and over and fly to that. It'll take me forever to try to piece something together that is smooth. But if I go out and I just burn a pack and throw some music to it, it always turns out better.
Well, I've been thinking about that a lot lately because that's something that I've been wanting to do ever since I saw Bardwell do it. Is to pick a song that you've known since childhood, though. You know every note.
Stuck in your head.
You know every note. You know every every downbeat. You know everything about the song. You could sing the drums to the song, without hearing it. Pick a song like that. And then don't necessarily try and do tricks and stuff to the beats, but think of your throttle instead. When there's a crescendo or like beat on beat 4, at the top of the beat, just bam, hit the throttle and then do something, and it will match the song.
Right. Well, an example of that would be like I did that tiptoe challenge from Jake Blackburn over on Quadaholics. And the first one I put up, I tried flying to the song, doing a couple packs, this and that, and mixing a video. And then me and Adam were out flying, and he wanted to do one. So he tried flying a couple packs to it. And then I says, well, let me throw another pack in. I did like a 1-pack run at it. And my 1-pack run at it, because I'd heard that song so many times between him doing it and me doing it, that I knew the song well enough that the 1-pack run turned out 10 times better than trying to edit a video together of all the different runs trying to edit.
That's exactly why I've been thinking about doing this. I need to give myself a good Bluetooth, and that's the way to do it. Don't try and put headphones on or anything because you want to hear your quad and whatnot. Get a good loud Bluetooth speaker and just set it next to you.
Yeah, that's what me and Poma do a lot of times. I got a Bluetooth, and I'll put the Bluetooth on, and I got like 1,700 songs on the playlist. Eagles, Clapton, Bob Seger, this, that, mix it up and just throw a bunch of stuff up and fly to that. So we've got the music in the background all the time flying.
So I think we have a bluegrass challenge.
Bluegrass.
Got to create a flight edit to bluegrass.
I can do that. You'll have to be more specific though, because my idea of bluegrass might not be yours.
Yes, but we want your idea of bluegrass.
Yeah, my idea. I could do that. My idea of bluegrass, I've already made one. I've already made one of those videos. It's the one I did it on in the cliffs of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
I fly the blues.
To me, that's blues gracious. I can't even say that word. It's not a word. That's blues grassy to me.
I've done a couple videos to like Clapton and BB King and stuff.
Yeah, I'm probably way off though.
Hey guys, good question.
It's that slow
So,
flying though. Bluegrass would be a little tough for Chuck.
good
He's gonna have
question.
to turn that camera angle down.
Good question. I'm going to answer it, and then I want you guys to tell me what your answer is, if you're even into this. John Coop says, and he asks, is there a trick to keeping my quad low? He can't seem to be able to fly at a consistent height. If he angles forward anymore, he goes into the ground. So, John, the first thing is that the hardest thing to do is just do it. And I know that sounds overly simplistic, right? But quad flight is all about, and I mean all about, throttle control. Okay. So what it takes to be able to fly consistently low is for you to keep that pitch just right on that quad. You got to be comfortable with that hover spot, where that stick goes, and knowing where your hover point is. And what you're going to do is fly just barely above it while you're flying forward. Now, if I was you, what I would tell you to do, don't try to oh my God. Don't try to fly right next to the ground. Give yourself 3 or 4 feet and see if you could hold that distance. Now, as you get more and more comfortable getting used to holding that throttle, start going a little lower and a little lower. And pick someplace that's easy, okay? Find a road that doesn't have traffic and fly over the road, because, see, if you hit the grass, you might tumble. If you hit the road, you'll scrape and you'll skip.
Yeah, I disagree.
Now, that's coming from me, and that's the way I did it and got comfortable. It's not going to work for everybody, but throttle control is what it's all about. I have a tuning piece of advice that I could also throw in there that would help you, but you're better getting close first, so I'm going to hold it back.
Go for it, Mike. I got the ender on this one.
You got the ender on it. Yeah, I always try to fly low and drop that camera angle down. It's easier to keep yourself at a low pace and get used to that camera view while you've got that lower angle on the camera. If you're going so fast, your controls are so twitchy, it gets harder to get used to. Once you get used to the camera angle and flying low, start moving that camera up a little bit. Move it up a little bit. Next thing you know, you'll be flying fast at low altitude. And it's throttle control, though. I mean, with your corners and everything else that way. That's why you use that lower angle first. Otherwise, your throttle control is going to be so much more jumpy.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to disagree with that as well. But I'll address that. As far as changing your camera angle goes, I don't recommend it. That goes back to what we were talking before about consistency. Find the camera angle that's comfortable for you and stick with it. Master it. 10,000 hours to master something. So get to flying. And as far as what everybody else said, yes, throttle control is it. Here is one way to do it and to force yourself to do it. Find yourself a little forest park or whatever that has consistently low hanging trees. Go fly under them. Do circles around them, because that's where you're going to learn your throttle control. If you're staying right under that canopy and you're doing orbits, and sharp turns around trees, you're going to naturally find the muscle memory that it takes. When you hit a corner hard, you've got to raise your throttle in order not to fall onto the ground, and let go right as you come out of it, back to where Josh was saying is the magic point, your hover point. And you can do that going fast. You can do that going slow. But choose what you want to do beforehand. Like me, I fly ridiculously fast all the time. So I learned that way. And Josh flies, smooth and slower. And that's how he learned, in a consistent basis. You don't try and change all the time. It goes back to the original subject every time. Stay consistent. Use that throttle. Just get that muscle memory. That's all it is. Repetitive. Fly packs. Yep. And if you're flying under the canopy, you have no choice. So
No, you know what? I agree with that. And you know, when you talk about different styles, like, I didn't set out and say this is the person I want to fly like necessarily. What I did was I went out and I flew and I found what I kind of liked and where my comfort zone was and where I was naturally drawn to. And then I found people that flew like that to mimic in some ways. So the first thing you do have to do, I agree with you 100%, is find what your comfortable flying style is. Do you like to fly fast? Do you like to fly slow? And basically what you're identifying is, where is your camera angle? Once you do that, it's all throttle control. And that sounds overly simplistic, but that's it. And you just do it. You have to force yourself to do it.
Yeah, pure muscle memory. There's no other way to do it but to just, and that's why I said do it under a canopy, because then you have no choice. You will learn throttle control or you will be taking that walk of shame.
That's what I did around my house. If you go to some of my old videos where I did start creeping lower and lower, I was sticking myself to stay under the trees, and I would figure 8 under trees and turn under trees. And I've only got a few trees in my yard, but that's what did it.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Exactly. I'm not saying, you know, go get some crazy under the canopy, Mr. Steel freaking, you know, Rubik's cubes on 4 feet high or anything, you know. Just go do figure 8s underneath a canopy. That's it.
Yeah.
Just maybe, you know, find a canopy, find some trees that, you know, and neighborhoods have a lot of them. Not that I recommend you fly in your neighborhoods; those are so tight. You know, that's 4 feet off the ground. The canopy's 4 feet. Go fly under it. Just do figure 8s. Do laps.
I agree. And then just like everything else, new tricks. You know, a lot of new tricks. But now I'm sitting here and thinking about it, even those are really about muscle memory and throttle control both.
Exactly. Knowing where your stick needs to be to do what you want it to do in the situation you're in. What the sticks does and what the quad does doesn't really change. What changes is the situation you're in when you're trying to do it. So that's what you have to adapt to, I think.
Yeah. Oh, man, such good conversation tonight. Everybody enjoys a little drama. I don't know what a week without a little drama is. It's funny how it always comes from ROTOR RIOT, though. Or maybe it's not. But, man, we've had some real good discussion tonight, even about the drama, and I really appreciate you guys being here. I appreciate all you guys stopping in. Yeah, I'll give it to you in a second. I was going to say I'm not cutting it off right this second, but I'm going to have to get going soon because I got an early flight tomorrow.
Oh, dude, I got to wake up at like 3 in the morning.
Okay, well, mine's not that early.
But, hey, where's Icky? Does anybody know?
I know where he's been. I can't tell you where he is.
Well, for those of you guys that don't know, you know, Icky's the guy who started this channel, and he got picked up by ROTOR RIOT, and he got picked up by DR1, and he's being an he's traveling the world being an announcer. Last I heard, I think he's in Slovenia. I don't even know where that is, but yeah, it's got castles apparently. So I mean, that's pretty crazy.
You know, he went from kind of complaining that he couldn't get out of Sulphur, Louisiana, to that.
Right? To I miss home.
Yeah. Yeah, he's on his way from Slovenia to his next location. He said that was his 3rd spot, Slovenia. And I think he said he got to see 2 castles in like 1 week or something like that. He's never seen a castle, so that was pretty cool.
From what I heard, he had planned on flying those castles.
He wanted to. He couldn't get to.
Maybe
His last
in a
post
month
that he didn't get to.
Oh, he didn't? I was going to say maybe in a month or so we'll get some crazy castle flying vids from the
I hope we see something while he's over there, man. He's been doing all this fun stuff and hasn't had time to fly. Too busy riding like downhill trikes and shit.
I saw
Well, you know
that.
what? I'm glad that he's doing that, though, because You know, he spends all day doing videography, doing interviews, doing the hosting, and doing the work
This
stuff.
is like
And
a
then to
month vacation.
and then to turn around and fly just so he can put some footy together, man, that's just too much like work. So I'm glad he's enjoyed himself and getting to hang out with some of those guys too, because he's building a rapport with them. And those relationships are going to carry well beyond this trip.
So many epic pilots that are in DR1 too, man. Epic pilots.
I don't think Josh was necessarily talking about the pilots. There's massive business opportunities there.
The whole group as well, but I mean DR1 itself is just, I mean, you know, you don't see most of the stuff behind the scenes, but you see all the pilots and all the stuff they're doing on some of their live feeds and stuff, and oh man, it'd be fun as hell. I can't imagine what he's doing compared to what just being a pilot over there would be.
Right. Well, friggin', I think it's really funny that I remember Aaron Icky just bitching and complaining. I put so much hard work in, and I get no views. This is so lame. He's told me many times that he thought about quitting, and I'm just like, don't make me slap you, dude. You know where this is going. And then all of a sudden, he starts, Capper starts talking to him, and is like, hey,
hey, let me see some of your video, man.
Right. And by the way, DR1 contacted me saying that if you have anybody that might want to do announcing, anybody you would recommend. And Capper's just like, oh yeah, this guy I know over in Louisiana, Icky, he'd be great.
They got this goofball fireman from Louisiana that tries to beat up on quads all the time, but oh man, he's just epic funny.
My videos only get 400 views, and I only have 900 subscribers after 3 videos. That's not my story.
Dude, I don't have a video with 400 views, period.
Hey, well, check this out, dude. I got 67 subscribers.
I've been trying to build Chop, Chuck.
Hey, and I get like 69, 70 views. What's up?
That'll work.
So, what's cool for me is I do have a handful of videos that have a couple thousand views. Some on my channel, some that I've done for the NoobTube, but I take a lot of pride in that.
Yeah, well, the video, those particular kind of videos always do very well because that content is in such high demand because what I'm talking about is he does informational videos, how-to videos, how to tune your quad, how to put together your first quad, stuff like that. There's not enough of that anymore because as the hobby matures, the base core of it, people, they don't really think about that stuff anymore. And the only way we're gonna get more people to fly with is to teach them how to build, teach them how to tune, teach them how to fly.
I thought about that the other night. I busted an arm on the Ghost and had to change it out. And it was a quick swap, and I didn't have to change a motor or anything like that. So it was simple. And I thought about it afterwards. I was like, man, I should have done a quick 5-minute, 10-minute video swapping an arm out real quick, show them what it,
right.
But I didn't do it. I was
and
like, oh, shit.
Those videos always do really well.
And I enjoy doing them, but I haven't been doing any because I've been so stuck on just flying what I have.
Not to mention traveling around the world, getting stuck in airports for 4 hours.
You gotta get that TS 1000 or whatever it's called, dude, and just start doing build videos in the airport.
Yeah,
I could do that.
Right?
But there's actually another soldering iron that's out. My buddy down the road picked one up. I think he got it off of Amazon or eBay or something, but he paid like $8, and it's a USB plug-in. So it's simple power. You tap it, it fires up. It's got a real fine tip on it. It doesn't get super, super hot, but for $8, I'll tell you what, it's a good portable soldering iron. I'll have to do a video on that so you guys can see it, but put a link in and shit. It's for $8, man. You can't beat it for a travel type thing.
you might want to rethink what we just talked about, Josh, because you bust out the TS100 or whatever and start soldering wires together and stuff. TSA is going to be all over your ass.
You probably be better getting a tiny whoop and flying the airports, bro.
Yeah. And I am going to start traveling with my whoop again now that, well, part of that has to do with the fact that I'm going to be going to a hotel that I bragged to some of you guys about, that this place is freaking epic. At least in Instant Messenger I did. And I want to whoop that place. So I got a new whoop frame. I've got stronger motors. I just have to put it together. It takes 15 minutes, but I'm fucking lazy.
Right.
Mike, do any of these look like it?
That first one for like $4, man. It's just a USB soldering iron. He picked it up for like $8 or something. And it's real cheesy. There's no adjustments on it or anything. The pictures are hard to see on my end, but it looks like pretty much that first one right there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You can go back.
It's cheesy and whatnot, hobby grade. No, I wouldn't say that necessarily, but for the flight bag to be out on the travel to do a quick solder on a motor, yep, that looks exactly like it right there, Josh.
Spend the extra money, get the good one.
Yeah, it doesn't have any temperature control, and it heats up quick and everything, and it does solder a motor, but it's not super hot. You're not getting super good solder joints. But for $8, if you're on a budget.
You know what? You guys will call me out for being the cheapest bastard in the channel. And you're not wrong. And you know what I've learned is I got to stop buying cheap shit, because I end up buying a lot more cheap shit than if I bought something good once.
I try to buy mid-grade stuff. I don't buy the top end, but I don't buy the bottom end. I shop around and try for the mid-grade. It's usually more reliable and worth the money still.
The way I started the hobby is pretty much opposite of what most people do. I didn't even buy a quad at first. I bought my Tyrannus XT9 Plus, and I bought a pair of Fat Shark Dom V3s. And so I blew my wad. I blew my wad right away, and it took me probably another month to get my my Wizard after that, because I knew.
And the Wizard was the cheapest part of it. That's the thing.
Yep, and because I knew that those were the two items that I would be using for a long time, so I might as well blow my wad on that and then buy a cheap quad to learn on. Quads come and go. You learn that real quick. If any of you out there buy a quad thinking, "Oh, I'm going to learn on this quad and I'm going to fly it around," no, you're going to crash it. You're going to destroy it. You're going to rebuild it 10 times, and then you're going to move on to another one and another one and another one. How many quads have you gone through, Josh?
Invest the money in the goggles, definitely, because I'll tell you what, you buy the cheap goggles, you'll hate yourself forever. You can't sell them back off. They're not worth the shit by the time you're done beating them up.
Yeah. How many quads have you been through, Josh? Total kits.
Total kits or total just
different
frame types? Because I probably went through 3 or 4 Wizards. I
still got all mine.
Martians. I went through
just replace parts.
2 or 3 of the Space One frames. I've been through some other cheap frames. And that was before I started buying these flaw styles that I have to try really hard to break.
Right. And how long have you been flying?
Just over 18 months, 19 months.
Okay, so you rattled off, I'll just call it, 9 frames?
Probably 9 to 11, yeah.
9 to 11 in a little over a year and a half. So that's not going to last. So coming back to the soldering iron is something you're going to use forever. Spend the money. Get a good one.
Right here. This right here is my first Martian 2 that I built. The only thing that I've done to it is replaced arms and stuff. It's still got the same hardware, except for like maybe a VTX or this or that stuff that burns out. But it flies great. It's the boys now. It's a 5-inch. I gave it to him so he'd fly. But that's the first one I built and flew the shit out of. Ask Adam. I beat the shit out of this all winter. And then I
That's
gave
crazy.
it to him at the end of winter or whatever and started building my ghosts and stuff. But it still flies. It's got some cheap ass Emax Ready Toski style motors, 2300s, stuff like that. It's got a nice Runcam camera on it, decent VTX. It's got the tower on it is a what is it? Fly Color Tower Raptor 390, the original one.
Wow.
Not even a. It's not even the D-Shot 1200. The highest it'll run is a multi-shot on it. But it's got 35 amp ESC all in one stack. It's a pretty nice little quad, really, overall. But it's a Martian too, and I beat the shit out of them. It's got the 4mm arms on it now, upgraded. The higher, thicker top plate and bottom plate, all that stuff. We're beating it up. I went through like 5 or 6 arms and kept rebuilding.
I had the same problem with the Martians, though, that I had with the Wizard, and it's that cheap Chinese fucking carbon. I was breaking bodies more than I was breaking arms.
I busted top plates, bottom plates, and arms, all of them. I ended up buying the thicker bottom plates, thicker top plates, which were 2mm instead of 1.5. And then the arms are 4mm instead of 3mm, I think. And it slowed it down, but it still breaks them. I've busted the 4mm arms on it easy. Same way. Bust them right off at the motor.
I actually ran into a good tip for anybody out there that's still rocking the Wizards. And this will work on other quads as well. If you have frame, 1.5 mil, base plate and top plate, what you do for a lightweight solution is you 3D print an exact copy of the plate, and you attach it with longer screws right onto the top of the freaking top plate and the bottom of the bottom plate. It adds a little bit of weight, but man, does it turn it into a brick.
Yeah, if you start doubling up top plates or bottom plates on either of those frames, it has the same effect.
Yeah, but I mean, you're with the 3D printing version, you're probably getting half the weight.
Right.
So, and it works just as well. What are you doing over there, man?
I was digging out some arms and top plates that are busted and shit off the Martian.
The only stuff I have left of my first quads is probably some carbon dust in the box somewhere.
Yeah, I even got some actual arms of them, dude. This is This is the same way, but all my Martian arms always bust. Every single one of them. It doesn't matter if it's 4mm, 3mm, whatever, but they always bust at the same fucking spot.
Isn't it amazing?
I busted like 6 of them like that.
Yeah. No, so any of you guys out there with the mentality that I don't have the money, but you're spending money on like $25 fucking motors and all, you don't have to spend $100, but get yourself a goddamn frame.
$10 motors, man. Did you see that? What is it? Sunny Sky, or is it Sam Gook just teamed up and put out a new motor, brand new style motor, new patenting, all kind. Oh man, it's supposed to be bad as hell.
Mike, I'm going to be mad if I get out there and it's the same 3 motors.
No, it's not the same 3. It's made by the same company as Sam Gook, put under a different name. And I want to say I shared it like 2 days ago or something like that, but it come out and it's supposed to be some kind of new system and cleaner, smoother, dust free, this, that, all kinds of crap, man.
Oh, I see, but it's not in the Sam Gook lineup. It's a different brand.
It's different branding, but made by the same company that makes Sam Gook.
I wonder if it's designed by the same guy.
I have no idea. I just seen a post on Facebook like a couple of days ago and I shared it.
That seems to be the important theme with those motors.
Well, the funny thing about those motors is that they're actually really, really good motors aside from the bearings.
Yeah, replace the bearings, or bearings are cheap, so I mean they're easy to replace. It's kind of like a Martian frame. You know you're going to break shit, so you buy the extra parts for it and keep
Yeah,
moving
but
on.
here's the thing, boss. Look, if you buy a $10 motor and then you buy, let's say, 10 bearings, because each motor uses 2, those 10 bearings, if you get decent bearings, are going to cost you just as much as your motors. And now they're $20 motors. Whereas if you had
See, I
bought
never bought
$15 motors, if you had bought $15 motors with better bearings already in them, you would have that price lower than your total investment.
Here's the link that I was talking about, and it's Sunny Sky, not Sam Gook.
Yeah, I can't say anything on this subject whatsoever because I'm that asshole that goes out and buys $27 motors.
Yeah, I got grinders, I got hype trains, I got hyper lights.
Oh.
Most of my motors are cheap, but I started buying more expensive motors, 22, 23 bucks.
But to prove Josh's point is, you know, how many of those motors have you been through, Josh? For you guys that don't know, Josh flies the Sam Gook motors, right?
I did. And I only ever went through because so here's the thing. I bought 2306 motors that were Sam Gook and the 2207. I've only ever had one set of each.
Mm.
And let me tell you, I have beat them up. So the 2207s, I had to replace one motor because I hit something so hard it bent the bell.
that happens.
And that's going to happen to any motor you fly. They're
Right.
actually really, really good motors. The magnets are a little weak. That's not necessarily a bad thing because something that people are finally figuring out is that if you have really strong magnets, that's one of the key creators of mid-throttle oscillations because that notchiness is actually causing that. So if you have weaker magnets, that's not a bad thing. You don't have to have the strongest every fucking thing you can find. It actually smooths them out a lot. And that's something I noticed with those Sam Gook motors is how smooth they are.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't had all the motors that I've bought in the past half a year have, what's the word people use? Coggy? They're coggy as hell. Just mad power. But then again, I basically destroy batteries. I get 2.5 minutes airtime. Battery's done.
And I can actually get 6-minute flights out of a battery, but I'm not, and I mean, I'm jumping up to full throttle and I'm doing some tricks, but I think because I'm so smooth on the throttle that I don't think it's as hard.
And I'm not using cheap batteries either. I use Thunder Power, so that's the only reason I get 2.5 minutes, and it's good for the whole 2.5 minutes. At the end of the pack, I can still shoot to the sky almost like I do at the beginning of the pack.
How far down do you run your packs?
Not, you know what? I could easily
14.
go. I could easily go 3.5 minutes, because like he said, I tend to stop a little early.
Okay, and I'm just curious because I go to 14 volts before I land, and once I land, they generally rebound to like 14, right between 14.7 and 14.9. So I'm right in that sweet spot.
I would agree, but then again, you're using what are you using? The 2207s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
right now I'm running the Sumax Innovation 2207 2600 kV.
Yeah, and I do the 2306 2450, the hype trains, and those things rape batteries. But God, I love them. The power. The power.
Show me that war face. Oh, man.
All right, we're getting goofy now.
Yeah. And I still got to eat something. I went and sat in a goddamn barber shop for 45 minutes, almost 55 minutes, actually. Nobody said a word to me.
Shaggy.
Still got like half a fifth here. Shit. Guess we won't finish this tonight.
You better hurry up.
Jesus Christ, dude.
No, I didn't plan to finish it. Usually it's a fight on Wednesday nights, and the store up at the corner there had this on sale for like $10 for a fifth. It's like $11 for a pint for regular beam. So I was like, all right, cool. Buy cheap.
Well, guys, I think we're going to get ready to wrap this up. If any of you guys watching have any idea of who you want to maybe guest on the next Hump Night, Hump Day episode, go ahead and, make a comment in the comments of this video or shoot me a PM or something. I'd much prefer to have your comments. And just let us know who you'd like to see. Shoot for the moon. Doesn't matter. I'll reach out. I'll see what we can do. If not next time, the time after. For anybody that's new, that's just tuning in, we run these hump days every other week. Not every week, but every other week, kicking off on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central. That makes it 7 p.m. Mountain, as long as you're not in the mountain that doesn't change times, which makes it 6 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, we need one more thing before we end this. We didn't get a proper O face from Mike. So, Mike, if you would get a little closer to the camera, please, and give us your best O face, please.
I hope you capped it.
I didn't see that coming. Except I think you got to make some noise while you're doing it so everybody's easy.
Oh.
Well, that's better. Before we went live, Mike made no face and he looked surprised.
Like,
I told him it's because he actually let me play.
I might not even cut the beginning out of this one.
right? Don't, dude.
No, that's my punishment for coming on late and not being prepared. Man, it snuck up on me this week with, the kids having Sweet 16 birthdays and shit last weekend.
I know. I was ready before you were, man. What's up with that? I'm supposed to be the damn slacker half of this show.
The co-host.
Right?
All right.
I'm making O-face, and now they're talking about zip ties around SMAs.
Oh.
It's related. Well, guys, thank you guys for stopping in. Chuck, as always, thanks for being on. Mike, really enjoyed your company tonight. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. To all you guys, happy crashing.
Hey, thank you guys that stuck with us and watched the whole thing. You guys are champions because we're retards, straight up.
Yeah, but keep watching because you never know what you'll figure out. Maybe the wrong way, maybe the right way. You never know.